I beat up the directors, the ministers aside. Let me tell the whole world.
All right, you'll have a chance to come here and rebuttal.
No, they won't. They better come now. Check this out. They fired me, but did it in a roundabout punk snitch way. So I caught them on the streets and beat they behind. And it ain't over. I still got more than Chuck because I read what you said about me.
Good day and good night. Welcome back to the High and Low Retrospective. The place where we rewind the reels and look back at the music, the movies, the shows, the moments that shaped us, and the ones that still echo louder than expected. Every genre has a few years that feel larger than the calendar. Years where the timeline gets crowded, too many debuts, too many classics, too many artists stepping into the frame before anyone fully understands what they're about to become. For hip-hop, 1993 was one of those years. Stay with me, I'll explain this. Wu-Tang Clan arrived from Staten Island sounding like a myth. Snoop Dogg became impossible to ignore. A Tribe Called Quest made growth sound effortless. Souls of Mischief turned a summer record into something close to eternal. Tupac, Queen Latifah, KRS-One, Onyx, Cypress Hill, The Far Side, Digable Planets, Black Moon, and so many others. They made the culture feel crowded in the best possible way. But the magic of 93 was not just the albums or the singles. It was the sense that hip-hop had not yet settled into one version of itself. For a brief moment, every future seemed possible.
Let's continue the saga, mad drama.
By 1993, hip-hop was no longer being treated like some temporary youth movement. It had already reshaped fashion, from Carl Kanai and cross-colored fits to Timberlands, Raiders caps, and oversized denim, and it was bleeding into television and film with shows like The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and In Living Color, bringing hip-hop style and humor into living rooms across the country, but it had not fully hardened into the categories that would define the late 90s. There was still room for contradiction. An underground record could travel. A regional sound could feel local and national at the same time. A rapper could be lyrical, strange, political, funny, aggressive, vulnerable, commercial, or all those things at once. That's what makes 1993 feel different. Hip-hop had grown big enough to reach the mainstream, but not so big that the mainstream had figured out how to flatten it. The infrastructure was already there. Yo MTV Raps, BET, The Box, college radio, mixtapes, record stores, magazines like The Source, street teams, independent labels, producers with signature sounds, videos that could turn an artist into a whole visual world. The culture had enough machinery to spread, but it still had enough friction to stay unpredictable. The top layer of 1993 is already ridiculous. Wu-Tang Clan released Enter the Wu-Tang 36 Chambers and made hip-hop feel like a secret society had opened its doors. Protect Your Neck was raw, crowded, chaotic, and impossible to confuse with anything else. It didn't sound polished for mass consumption. It sounded like you had intercepted something.
I smoke all the like smoking Joe Frazier.
Then there was Cream, which would grow even larger as its life carried into the next year. Cold, reflective, almost strangely calm for a group built on so much volatility. Wu-Tang didn't just arrive with songs, they arrived with a whole universe.
So I got with a sick tight click and went all out.
A Tribe Called Quest gave 1993 a different kind of classic with Midnight Marauders, one of my favorite albums of all time. Actually, well, now that I'm saying that, Enter the Wu-Tang is another one of my favorite albums of all time. Anyway, if Wu-Tang sounded like mythology from the basement, Tribe sounded like adulthood settling in without losing the groove. A war tour moved with ease. Electric Relaxation would become one of the group's most beloved records. Tribe made maturity sound warm, stylish, conversational, and effortless. Then Souls of Mischief released 93 Til Infinity, one of those that feels like it created its own weather.
Yo, what's up? This is Tajay of the Mighty Souls of Mischief crew.
It wasn't aggressive. It wasn't desperate to dominate. It floated. The record gave the Bay Area a different texture in the national conversation. Relaxed, lyrical, and cool without forcing the point. Even the title became a prophecy. 30 years later, people still say 93 Til Infinity is shorthand for a feeling, not just a song, a time.
We're shooting this video, man.
Whose video?
Us.
1, 2.
3 into the 4. Snoop Doggy Dogg and Dr. Dre is at the door.
If 93 had a mainstream takeover story, Snoop Doggy Dogg was near the center of it. By the time Doggy Style arrived in November of 93, Snoop already felt familiar. Earlier that year, Dr. Dre's Nothing But a G-Thing had introduced him to the mainstream as more than a guest voice. Snoop sounded relaxed, melodic, funny, dangerous, and completely at home inside Dre's production. So when Doggy Style landed, it didn't feel like a debut from an unknown artist. It felt like the culture had been waiting for an album to catch up to him. But the West Coast in 93 wasn't just Snoop. Ice Cube's It Was a Good Day showed another side of an artist who had built his name on confrontation, pressure, political force. The song, again, one of my favorites of all time, was cinematic and calm, almost dreamlike. A day without trouble, without tension, without the usual shadows closing in. The Far Side's Passing Me By gave LA another face entirely. Funny, wounded, awkward, vulnerable. A song about missed romantic chances that felt personal without losing its bounce. That range matters. In 1 year, West Coast hip-hop could sound smooth, reflective, strange, wounded, dangerous, playful, and commercially massive. It could be Snoop, it could be Cube, it could be The Far Side. Same coast, different futures.
Are you trying to get crazy with this thing? Don't you know I'm loco?
That's the sound of the police.
1993 also gave hip-hop records that felt urgent in completely different ways. KRS-One's Sound of the Police was direct and forceful, a record built for response. It carried the energy of protest, history, and confrontation without softening itself for the room.
U-N-I-T-Y, that's a unity.
Queen Latifah's UNITY gave the year one of its clearest statements of dignity and self-possession. It was a hit, but it also felt like a correction, a demand, a reminder that hip-hop's conversation about respect couldn't only be aimed outward. Tupac's Keep Your Head Up lived in a similar emotional space, but with a different kind of tenderness. By 93, Pac was becoming harder to reduce to one thing: political, sensitive, angry, theatrical, wounded, charismatic. I Get Around showed his charm and visibility. Keep Your Head Up showed his reach.
Back to get wrecked. All respect to those who break the...
Then, Onyx's Slam came from a completely different direction. Blunt, physical, built like a command. A record that turned aggression into crowd language. Cypress Hill's Insane in the Brain widened the atmosphere again. Strange, catchy, nasal, psychedelic, and instantly recognizable. That's the thing about 93. Even the hits didn't agree on what a hit was supposed to sound like.
I think I'm going crazy.
Some of the most interesting records from 1993 matter because of what came next. Biggie didn't yet have Ready to Die, but Party and Bullshit already felt like a warning shot for the next era of New York rap. The voice was there, the humor was there, the timing was there, the sense that a star was forming was already there. Outkast's Players Ball belongs in that conversation too. The record arrived near the end of 1993 and became part of the build toward their 94 debut, Southern Playalistic Cadillac Music, but that timing is part of the point. The future doesn't always arrive neatly on January 1st. Sometimes it shows up late in the year, sounding like a whole region is about to change the map. Players Ball was Atlanta beginning to announce itself. Not as an imitation of New York, not as a response to Los Angeles, as its own world. And scattered around the year were other early signals. Fat Joe's Flow Joe.
You gotta flow, Joe. You gotta flow, Joe.
The Roots' Pass the Popcorn.
The first verse is what I pass the popcorn.
Mobb Deep's Peer Pressure.
As a young black teen.
These were not final forms. They were first sightings. Proof that 93 was full of artists entering the room before the room fully knew what to do with them. Now, the reason 1993 still feels magical is not only because of the biggest names. It's because the second layer was so strong. Digable Planets' rebirth of Slick, also known as Cool Like That, began its life in late 1992, but its presence carried loudly into 93. It brought jazz rap into the mainstream with a style that felt laid back, political, stylish, and completely self-possessed. Black Moon's Enter the Stage gave New York a darker, smokier underground texture. How Many MCs, Buck 'Em Down, and the lingering power of Who Got the Props, well, it made the Beatminers sound feel heavy, dusty, and lived in. LL Cool J, already a hip-hop legend by this point, added to the year's depth with his hit single Backseat.
Oh yeah.
J. Rue the Damages' Come Clean was minimal and sharp with DJ Premier on production, the kind of record that felt like it cleared the air around it. Till this day, I still think it sounds like drops of water in a bathroom sink. Maybe I'm influenced by the music video, actually. Anyway, Preem, let me know.
Skip to my news. Yes.
Leaders of the New School's Time, the Inner Mind's Eye. Well, it arrived with What's Next, a record that felt like both a peak and a turning point, capturing the group's chaotic energy even as it quietly signaled the end of Leaders of the New School and the rise of Busta Rhymes as a solo force. Lords of the Underground had Chief Rocka. Eric Sermon broke free of EPMD and had Hittin' Switches. MC8 had Straight Up Menace. De La Soul had Break of Dawn. MC Light had Roughneck.
Number one competition is none.
Beatnuts had No Equal. The Alcoholics had Make Room. Funk Dubious had Bow Wow Wow. Intelligent Hoodlum, aka Tragedy Gaddafi, had Grand Groove. Oh, I love that song.
Passed away, they passed away. We'll love you to this day.
And Domino had Ghetto Jam. That's a deep cut for the real heads.
Here we go, as the tune starts to...
Not every name became a superstar. Not every record became a permanent pillar of the canon, but that's exactly what makes the year feel so deep. Even the margins had identity. Even the footnotes had hooks, video, scenes, and attitude. 93 was crowded in the best possible way. So the big question here is, why did all of this happen in 1 year? Well, part of it is timing. Hip-hop had proven it could sell, but it hadn't yet been standardized. Labels were willing to invest, but the culture was still close to the underground. Regional scenes still sounded distinct. New York didn't sound like Los Angeles. Los Angeles didn't sound like Oakland. Oakland didn't sound like Atlanta. Atlanta didn't sound like New Jersey. Producers had fingerprints. Get RZA, he didn't sound like DJ Premier. DJ Premier didn't sound like Dr. Dre. Dre didn't sound like Pete Rock. Pete Rock didn't sound like the Beatminers. The Beatminers didn't sound like Q-Tip. The variety is the heart of the year. 93 wasn't magical because everyone agreed on what hip-hop should become. It was magical because no one had won the argument yet. The mainstream was opening. The underground was still close enough to touch it, and radio was still strange enough to let different kinds of records through. So, that's the High and Low Retrospective on the magic of 1993, a year when hip-hop's future seemed to arrive from every direction at once. Wu-Tang built a universe, Snoop became inevitable, Tribe settled into greatness, Souls of Mischief made the year sound infinite, and around them you had Pac, Queen Latifah, KRS-One, Ice Cube, Pharcyde, Digable Planets, Black Moon, Onyx, Cypress Hill, Biggie, Outkast, and so many others made the culture feel wide open. That's why 93 still matters. It was a year when hip-hop sounded like it could become anything. And in a way, it did. Anyway, thanks for watching this one. I appreciate you. Thanks for liking, commenting, and subscribing. Be sure to click the bell so you don't miss more deep dives into the music, shows, movies, and the moments that shaped us and the ones that understood us a little too well. Until next time, stay critical, stay nostalgic, and remember.
Peace and love. Here we go.